In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 91 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Leucadia in California talking with Josh Nowack. Josh is the founder and CEO of Breaking Free Industries, a t-shirt print shop founded on the belief that there can be an opportunity for all and the world is inherently good. Breaking Free Industries provides opportunities for those seeking a second chance. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy. Josh, thank you so much for joining us on the Swell Pod.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited. Today we're in Leucadia in Encinitas? Encinitas, yeah, thank you. And we're on our journey to get 100 interviews, and you are one of them, so it's a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited about this one, but just simply because we interviewed Darren from Rev Roads, and he was able to recommend we speak to you, right?
Yeah, Darren and I go back about 20 years. We met as business school students back in the day. Our employer at the time sent folks over to Duke to get an MBA, and super cool to do that. But they had the older class meet the younger class. I was in class A and he was in class B. So we were able to meet up there and have been friends ever since.
Great stuff. Will you let us know your full name, what you do, and why you do what you do?
Okay, my name is Josh Nowack. I've got a screen printing business based in Orange County, California. And the unique thing to what we do is we hire folks out of the justice system. So if you want to work for us and you haven't had an unwilling relationship with handcuffs, move on. So we help and create opportunities for those folks who have been incarcerated, have been charged with a crime or things like that. Why? I'm a returning citizen myself. And once you get charged with something, it's just difficult, especially once you have that first charge. And if, God forbid, things hit the press, now people don't want to talk to you anymore. And now you're like, okay, well, what do I do? You can't go back to your normal jobs. You can't go do normal things. So oftentimes people continue doing stupid stuff because they can't make an honest living. Mm-hmm. My job is to say, at least if nothing else, even if you come to my shop, you work with us for a year, now you're employable by somebody else because you've shown up for a job, you've done a good job. I'm happy to write the letter of recommendation saying, yeah, honest stud of an employee, by all means hire him.
Was it the screen printing shop first and then the mission and vision that followed, or was it kind of vice versa?
So incarceration for me came first, then heart surgery. And
right.
Then okay, so now what do I do with the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And called the institutional racism that it is, I'm a white Jewish guy. I'll be able to land on my feet. A lot of these other folks, you have institutional racism that kind of puts people into a bad place to begin with. You don't have a first chance, never mind a second chance. So I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to make this a little bit better? Again, I'm going to land on my feet at some point in time. What do I do for that next person that didn't have the chances I had? I mean, I've got an MBA from Duke. I've got an education, all that. A lot of these folks, they didn't have that to begin with. That's the reason why they were on the streets and doing silly stuff to begin with. Mm-hmm. So what can we do? What can I do to make my life a little bit more meaningful? And how do I create more opportunities for them? So,
yeah.
At what point did that idea come to you though? So you'd gone through those challenges. When did the idea for the screen printing come? And then when did the light bulb come on and go, hang on, I'm going to do this with a purpose for those that are within the same boat? So
when I first was released, I was just trying to find a normal day job where I could just collect a paycheck, but no one wanted to hire me. So any white collar jobs I went to, they would be like, dude, you're a felon, get out of here. Yeah. And any more blue collar jobs or even like basic jobs like a supermarket or anything like that, they're like, dude, you have an MBA from Duke. What the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like things just didn't compute. So I'm like, okay, obviously I'm going to need to do something entrepreneurial. And then at one point in time, I started following up on Homeboy Industries based in Los Angeles, nation's largest gang intervention center. And he does great work. They have 11 social enterprises, one of which being screen printing. I came to screen printing because the capital costs to get involved were a little lower than some of his other ventures. Now, it doesn't take a whole lot to get started. Get me some revenue so I can start eating myself. And then once you start having more revenue, then you can start bringing other people involved. Cool. And that was just laying down after heart surgery because I couldn't do very much. I'm just sitting there saying like, okay, I've had 13 job offers revoked. When are you going to get a clue that no one's going to hire you? So I got that clue. I'm like, okay, if you don't want to hire me, hire the idea of second chances. Especially if you think about it, you go around the streets around San Diego or any other area, you're going to see somebody on the streets who's homeless. More likely than not, we walk past that person. Okay, fine, whatever. Do you offer that person a job? Probably not. But if you knew that you could give money to an organization that would help that person back on their feet, you probably do it. So I've got a screen printing business. You're going to buy a shirt anyway. You guys are wearing 2 amazing shirts. At some point in time, you made the decision to buy the shirts from somebody.
Yeah.
If I told you I'm going to take that money that you're going to use for your hoodie and for your t-shirt and say, I'm going to get this person that was on your stoop that was homeless, or that person that just got out of prison, and said, I'm going to give that person a job. Will that make you buy from me? Maybe. My revenue statistics say yes. Yeah. As opposed to just helping some otherwise entrepreneur that just has a screen printing shop.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Absolutely. I'm interested. So what challenges have you seen starting and running this business?
So you're talking, I'm entrepreneur number how many at this point?
So it's mid 80s. I can't say for sure. We're losing our minds a little bit, to be honest.
Okay. But, so let me make this easy on you. So for every challenge that your mid 80s entrepreneurs have already had, I'm facing it, and add to it, I'm personally not really quite bankable because I'm a felon. So add to that, have to be a little bit more creative about how we fund and how we do things. So we have to grow a little bit slower because of that. Oftentimes when you're an entrepreneur and you're using other people's money, it's not to say that you don't care, but you don't care. If I raise $2 million and I lose the $2 million, it's just like, sorry, I can't go to a bank. Yeah. Most equity investors at this point in time are still like, hey, I like what you're doing. It's kind of cool, but no, not so much. So the challenge in that is making sure that we continue to just be able to grow the revenue and self-fund. Yeah. And shockingly, the challenge I really don't have is finding people. I would imagine out of your 80 or so entrepreneurs that you're talking to, finding the right people is a challenge. Yeah. You tell somebody that, hey, I hire second chance folks. There's no shortage of people. It's unfortunate as a society, but selfishly, it's amazing. So people is the one issue I don't have.
Do you have any stories maybe of an employee, somebody that you may have helped out, or somebody that you can kind of tell us a little bit more about?
Well, I think for everyone, there's an opportunity to be had. Because collectively across every person that I've hired, the story fundamentally is the same. No one believes in them. And they only are seen as somebody who's up to mischief or no good, like irredeemable. And my comment is, I don't give a darn what happened prior to us meeting. I really don't. I probably should be a little bit more thorough in the background check screening and understanding the nature of what happened, but I really don't care. Just I'm here to, whatever it is, my job is to make sure that I believe in you, that I believe in you, I trust you, and I think you're still destined in this world for good things. You're here for a reason.
That's powerful.
Yeah. Is it powerful more for one person than another? Maybe. I haven't had that conversation, but it's the same story for everybody when they come in. We're here for a very particular reason. It's like, if you're having an interview with me, I know why you're here. Like if you think about, you talk to somebody who just wants a job and I want to be the CEO, I want to be that. They just want a job and they want a pathway forward. And that's my general basic screening. Like if you're still up to no good, I can't have you using while on the job. I can't have you being crazy while on the job. You have to show up. I'll give you a second chance, but not a third. Like, great, come on board. Let's give you that opportunity. But that's kind of just collectively where we're at. Yeah. Where, it was interesting. We had one guy who called to try and invest in us. And my sales guy takes the call and he's like, well, are you a felon? He's like, excuse me, what? He's like, are you a felon? He's like, we only deal with people that are felons. Get the hell out
what
of
do
here.
you mean? Yeah.
So yeah, we're a little bit colorful on that front. And we embrace that notion that, hey, we've made mistakes and we're just honest about it. Yeah. So yeah, kind of cool.
What's the name of your business?
Breaking Free Industries.
Yeah, Breaking Free Industries. Yeah.
I was just thinking that. What's the name?
And you mentioned it earlier. I think I might have missed it. But
Yeah, it's all good.
No, appreciate that. Have there ever been any instances where it got to the third strike?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that tough?
No. It's unfortunate, but it's not tough. I'm very clear. A guy goes out on his lunch break, comes back and was boasting that he had was involved in a fender bender and just produced bad information for that person. I said, get your stuff and leave, please.
Yeah.
I can't. You're making a commitment. You're taking a job for somebody to try and find a pathway forward. Yeah. There's 1,000 ways you can handle that situation better. Continuing that line of behavior is not acceptable. So,
yeah. Just tell me a little bit about what the process is. They come in. Where do they start?
I mean, screen printing. So it's not hard.
Yeah,
we're based in Orange County. Our location is kept discreet because we had our location published for a while, and then we had some people that were kind of checking things out. And my team goes up to me and says, "Who are they?" I'm like, "Oh, they're just checking out the space nearby or whatever." He's like, "Well, how do you know?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You don't know." I'm like, "You're right. I don't." And it turns out some of my folks do have some tail, and they have some people that might be interested in talking to them.
Yeah. Tricky.
Yeah, it does get a little tricky. So anyone who wants to visit our shop, the answer is, I'm sorry, we can't.
Yeah.
I'll meet you in a public location. I'll come to your shop, but our shop is closed.
But the training takes a few days.
Yeah.
And they just get going.
Yeah, it's not the whole thing. Another reason why screen printing is what's an industry that has pretty good margins, that doesn't take a lot of training to get started here to start making some money and to get up and running. So it's, what can you do? Okay, can you fold a shirt? Well, most people can.
Yeah.
No, can you take a machine and operate a heat press? Can you take a screen press and make sure that hit a couple of buttons? Yeah. Do you have graphic abilities? Can I start teaching you to a class? No, send you a class to Adobe Illustrator and teach you how to do graphic design. Not hard. So, I think all too often employers are always just like, hey, I need that perfect person. Yeah. And it's just like, find the attitude first and train the person accordingly. All too often we're trying to find the exact same person. I guarantee you my turnover rate is lower than yours. And I've got felons, dude.
Yeah. I was going to ask about your retention, but it sounds like people stay. They want to be a part of this.
Right. Well, in one sense, all too often, where are they going to go? And number two, I believe in them. I trust them. It's like, how many times are you sitting there saying, like, if you have, let's just pick on somebody who's cheating on their spouse. Does that spouse ever really get over it? So it's like, hey, you're out with your team till later. So you have that notion of, I believe in you and I trust you. That goes very far.
Yeah. I actually have, I love screen printing. Well, no, I think I would love screen printing. I've always done t-shirts, like where I paint stuff on the t-shirts.
Sure.
When I was a teenager. And it's still on my bucket list. Like, go buy the equipment or just learn how to do the basics. If we had more time, I'd come down to your place with you and let's learn how to do it. Because I think it's so simple. I mean, it's just a simple thing, but it's all about design. And anyway, I just love it, what you're doing, and it's something creative. And for a lot of people, that's just enough. It fills your soul. Like, you're doing something really basic, simple, but people wear it. I mean, it's actually a pretty cool thing. What's your vision for the future then? Like, just for, is it online? Is it, are you just have more people coming through I don't know if you call your, it's not even a program. The team. What is your thoughts for the future before we wrap this up?
My ideal is, as revenue grows, I'd love to get to a point where we start creating micro enterprise grants for our team members. Because, okay, screen printing is nice, but you and I both know you're never going to get rich working for somebody else. So it's like, hey, if I can come up with $25,000 for somebody who's got a desire to have a mobile car wash detailing business. Okay, let's buy the pressure washing equipment. I'll take a little bit of equity, not too different than like a Rev Road deal. Let's centralize the marketing, the accounting, the payroll, all the stuff that people, even normal business owners, can't really kind of get their head around. Take care of that and buy them a truck. Here's your pressure washer, on you go. You've got a desire for landscaping. Okay, let's get you an F-150, a couple of lawnmowers, whatever you need. On you go. Now you've got a landscaping business. And my catch would be, hey, you know what? Let's just continue growing a second chance deal where you're only hiring from people, out of the system, continue that notion that we continue to grow that way, and not just do it about screen printing, but mobile car wash dealing, window repair, all these businesses that don't require, say, baccalaureate degrees, but businesses that are something that they can call for them on their own. Like a business that they can have pride, they can have dignity. I'm in business for myself. It's a legit business, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's transferable skills. Maybe you used to traffic weed or other narcotics. Now you're trafficking cotton, or now you're selling whatever it is. Sales skills aren't the issue. It's just more a matter of doing it with the constraints of law.
Yeah, that's great that you got that vision. I mean, I've always been a supporter of that kind of concept.
It's pretty amazing. And so as we wrap up, we do have one final question that we ask everybody that's been on the podcast, and that is, what does it take to create something that never existed before? Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say, once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus Station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus Station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Well, in my case, I can't say that this didn't exist. Everything I did does exist. So I'm going to give you the contrarian answer is sometimes you can take something that perfectly exists in plain sight and say, I'm going to do it anyway. And you add your own little spin to it. You add your passion to it. And because like so many entrepreneurs are like, well, that's been done before. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's actually easier to do something that someone else has done and do it in a more socially conscious way.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.